The GEEK Files, 2026, February 8th. The flying fishing camps out of Leaf. So in Sioux Lookout, the fishing camp, the whole fishing vacation fly-in camp thing have been really well established. So there is some, it's closer to the roads, more access to the U.S. border. That was closer. Not sure what the rules were, because fishing tends to be under provincial jurisdiction. So like, yeah, you could cabins, whatever. Up in Leaf, it's far more remote. Like you had to, I mean, it was, even flying into Leaf was a thing. So even driving or flying into Leaf, getting there was a thing. So, and I'm not sure what the rules were provincially, but I know that a native already had to have, a native needed to have the right commercial fishing rights to the lake before you could do fly-in fishing. So it tended to be a bit more rustic. I'm not sure what was included, but I mean, it's pay to play. So the more you paid, the more that was provided. And generally, most of these guys were just, more guys that came in. Two of them did stick out. Had a guy from Texas who showed up by himself into a camp, and I think the boat and accommodations and fuel were supplied. He had to supply his own fishing gear and food, which was okay. This guy showed up with an otter's full of gear, literally, not by volume, but by weight. I can't remember what an otter carry. What is an otter carry? Like 3,000 pounds. I know it was over the 2,000 pound limit of a beaver. So he packed all this stuff up and sent him off for a week. And then he came back, and I'm helping him unload the airplane. He looks at me and says in this Texas drawl, "Y'all eat meat?" And I'm thinking, like, the fuck? Yes, sir. Y'all eat steak? Yes, sir. Well, I got some corn-fed Texas steak left over. You want it? Going like, sure. Because like getting any meat besides fish in Leaf, even though I lived with the butcher, was a thing. I mean, it had to be driven up at least 250 miles from Thompson or flown in. It wasn't being flown in. So yes, sir. And he was right. I took it home to the butcher, and the butcher looked at it. My roommate looked at it and said, "Wow, this is great. We barbecued it, and it was awesome." And the other guy was some background. So there used to be an auto racing series in the States called Kart. I don't remember what Kart Champion Auto Racing something. And the whole premise behind Kart was it was going to be fair. All the automobiles were going to be equal. So the only thing that made a difference was the driver. So this was supposed to be a real drivers series. And part of that was all the heads for the engines were flow tested to be identical. So they're identical castings or forgings, identical machining, identical flow benching. And one of the guys that showed up had the contract to do this, and then he sold it. So like he had a lot of money, and he was really into racing. So his lifestyle was he had a Formula Ford team that he was the driver for, that he supported. And between the races, he would go into different fly-in fishing camps and go fishing around the world. And his home base was in New York. So between doing these Formula Ford racing and looking after his team and fishing, wherever he was, he would come to New York and deal in raw diamonds. So, and I'm thinking, looking at this guy. So this is Leaf Rapids. Like I'm in the back of beyond in Manitoba. You know, fighting off black flies, no-see-ums, and mosquitoes. This guy shows up in his lifestyle, a down-to-earth guy. Like he was a really great guy, no pretense to this at all. And he, between remote fishing trips and his Formula Ford schedule, he came through New York at home and dealt in raw diamonds to support this habit that, because he made millions of dollars selling his business, flow testing engine heads for cart. And I'm going where else would you meet people like this? A Texan that's just rich enough to fly with 3,000 pounds of fishing gear and bedrolls, who brought up steak from Texas because he wanted good steak, and a guy who dealt in raw diamonds, raced Formula Ford, and fished. Yeah, wild, man. Making appropriate life decisions. You don't make any money, but man, do you have good stories.